Hi guys, I'm Garen.
I'm JD.
And this is Investigating Comic Club, where we chronologically read, review, discuss, and rate specific crucial stories of the medium.
Indeed, and we hope that you guys will subscribe to become Misfit members of Comic Club yourselves. Share your own opinions in the comments below. Stick around till after our conversation for our episodic comic quality poll, and after the Misfit Picture Show's logo for any potential bloopers that the episode could provide. Mr. Garen.
Yes.
We're doing something a little different today.
Yes.
As we fell behind the onrush of Dawn of X comics, we're doing Excalibur, essentially the first 6 issues. We did do a video for issue 1, and now we're going to be doing 2 through 6. And we also made a commitment for the first wave of the Dawn of X titles to get through the first 6 issues. Each title was given 6 issues.
We did.
And then we were going to decide from there which ones we would continue with. So stick around to see if Excalibur makes the cut.
What? All right,
so here we go. I think I gave Excalibur issue 1, I think I gave it an A. I really enjoyed it.
Issue 1.
Yeah, maybe a B, a high B, B+.
I think you might have given it an A. I gave it a B.
Okay. So it was nice. I found it really nice to read several issues in a row. Not talking about the quality or anything, but just to sit down and read, what I feel is kind of the intentioned...
And read them all through, right?
Yeah, the intentional first arc.
Yeah, and I felt the same because, like you said, we got pushed back a bit. We didn't read them as much, so now reading it this way, I was looking forward to this 6th issue today. You know, like reading them all.
Yeah, me
sitting
too.
back again, reading issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in one kind of sitting. It was that pacing that you looked for. It wasn't that big of a... I mean, there's moments in this so far series that keep you intrigued, but it wasn't enough where I can find myself each issue waiting for the next one. It was enough for me to go, this is interesting to read as a whole, as maybe a trade or something. But as far as like one issue by itself, oh my God, that's amazing. You should go jump on board this. It didn't hone in on that for me. And I've been reading Once and Future, so that is that style of like Excalibur, that in medieval times kind of thing. So it was on the same page that I was kind of looking for. But as far as the keeping me intrigued each week, there wasn't enough. Again, it's like, oh, you want a cliffhanger every single time. You're not going to get that I get, but at the same time, there's got to be a few things in there in each issue that is going to keep you wanting more rather than just, I mean, especially if they want our money, why wouldn't I just now wait for, cool, I know that's how it works, so in the next 6 issues, I'll check out maybe the trade of those 6 issues.
If you even get around to it.
Yeah, if it happens.
You know,
yeah.
Like, you're not, it doesn't sound like you're hungry.
Not hungry enough.
To like potentially check in unless you heard this or that about it. So I don't think it's inappropriate to compare the like Dawn of X titles and issues to what Jonathan Hickman did with House of X and Powers of X. That was 12 issues over 12 weeks. Since X-Men #1 and up until the end of January, it's going to be, I think it's 15 weeks with just like 35 issues. Just a lot.
That's a lot.
And I think honestly, it was an oversaturation of titles. I think that they took that excitement from House of X and Powers of X and kind of grounded into the ground.
No, yeah, they did. They were like,
drove it into the ground, like,
oh my God, maybe you'll like this and this and this and this, and hopefully you'll also read
it
this.
was too much too soon.
Yeah.
Not necessarily 6 titles being too much, but 6 titles over shipping the way that they did.
No,
was too much. It's just too much.
Too much. And this is a side note as far as these 6 titles go, and then you have this release of these next like 4 or 5.
There's several miniseries coming out.
There's a new
Wolverine, which its first issues like $8.
And just in hearing how fast they're coming out and talking to, some of the comic shops, just it's even too much for them. Like, I mean, it's already too much for especially a small mom and pop style shop.
No, for the comic shop that you went into today, to literally say out loud, the like owners of the shop, to say to one of their customers who's relatively new, you just started with the House of X titles. So what do you think about all these X titles? Like groaning.
Yeah.
What do you think about all these X titles coming up? You're saying that to one of your customers. Where it should be like, are you excited for the next X? Like Wolverine? Like, there's something else going on.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. Because I think that Hickman really did some heavy lifting and really amazing work. You could tell that he spent a lot of time thinking through some stuff. So you're saying that these Excalibur issues, while you enjoyed them enough, the issues weren't driving you like each issue of that House of X, Powers of X, even the issues that were like lower tier. They weren't like super exciting. Still
the Powers of House lower tier was still enough to keep me wanting each week, even when it was like, wait, that's it?
Like impatient.
Yeah, you're like, knowing, at least issue. I have another week or 2 weeks. Like with this, it's still coming out faster than most, I'm not waiting a whole month. But sometimes it's like,
well, you can't keep up with it.
You can't,
man, another issue, I gotta, oh man.
Yeah.
It's very different. Very different.
Yeah.
I've talked to you often about Claremont and Alan Davis on the original Excalibur title.
Yeah.
And how I have a real soft spot for those characters and a real joy for Betsy Braddock Psylocke. She's one of my favorites. So I really enjoyed these issues. I think they remind me of two issues in particular. I know you haven't read them. I think that Excalibur is going to be one of those series that you're going to have to read because it's really awesome. You're going to love it. There's two issues in particular. I think they're 15 and 16 of Excalibur by Alan Davis and Chris Claremont. And they were just, it was like called The Cross Time Keeper. And they were going through all these different dimensions and Otherworld. And it was, you were kind of thrust into, wow, they're in this fantasy kind of thing. And there's Nightcrawler being a pirate, and there's these other guys, they're in a fairyland.
That's cool.
Just two really cool issues, and you were thrown into the deep end, like make it out as you go. Teenie Howard.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with her other writing. This whole 6 issues kind of felt like just this bombastic, like relentless story that didn't let you catch its breath.
Yeah.
Which was good, but also, you can kind of get away with that for 2 issues, but for 6 issues of it, it felt like I'm kind of losing track of certain things. Are you, as a storyteller,
that's
losing track of things?
Me reading them all today or now, it was like, no, this is a great story. I loved it. It was great. Like, I was like, oh, that's fun. Oh, the baby and the dragon. Oh, wow, he woke her up. Oh my gosh, it was all planned. Oh my gosh, it's like, that's great. But it's so much that if I were just reading it week in and week out, you don't remember all that. Right. Me, I didn't really have to take a lot of notes during reading this today because it did flow. But each week, if I would have read each issue separately, you're taking notes, not even knowing what you're taking notes about. Right. And there's almost too much jumping in, or you might not take what you're learning.
I think, along with the art and these issues as a 6-issue whole, elevates the story potentially beyond what its actual quality is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think Teenie Howard, there's a lot happening in this series, and I think it's not quite structured properly as individual chapters to a 6-part story of the first arc. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, how'd you feel about just even jumping to conclusions, how'd you feel about that last page? Of it being, not the tech page, but of Apocalypse there over the body.
Oh, of Morgan dissecting her? How did I feel about that?
How was that?
I didn't feel like it was revelatory. Like, I felt like Oh, cool. Okay. Like,
I feel like, yeah, to me, it felt like it was supposed to be a bigger reveal than it actually was,
Yeah.
more weighted than it actually was. I was giving it to where I'm like, I know this isn't the end of the story. I know this is just one of those the end of the 6 issues, and we're like, okay, where do we go from here? But knowing how we've talked about the little, 6-issue arcs and stuff, it's like, I need a bigger something at the end of this 6th. And again, it was it goes back and forth between I read them all and then I get to the 6th issue and a lot was happening, but just enough not connecting the dots with story that I'm like, what am I supposed to be happy that or I'm finding out?
was it weird in those first couple pages? There was that tech page of the new status quo of Otherworld, and it revealed Jamie and her being defeated and all the things that this issue told us before that. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, no yeah.
Like, I was like, wait, did I miss something? When was Morgan defeated? Did that happen at the end of issue 5?
And I was like, I just read that and I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
Nuh-uh. Yeah, no, it kind of gave you two, like, I'm just like, wait, did I miss something? And then that reminds me too of, so issue 5 ends with her becoming Apocalypse-ish. And then you have this whole issue where they're fighting and she's like this, oh, it's amazing, it's crazy. And next thing you know, she's just in a pool, just in a hot tub, normal.
That goes to, that's how her power works. Again, they're not.
No, they're not. I didn't even know what
established-
Bishop's power was in Marauders, I think, until this last issue, which we've read. But I'm just like, it's like those are those things. And I'm like, oh, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. That's what his power is.
Yeah. No, it's, that has been a big flaw, I think, of the entire Dawn of X, that they haven't done on the tech pages that are right there.
Yeah.
Their
Like, I
first
know
and
she
last
absorbs
names
it.
And their
But
thing.
powers. Because I know she absorbs it. I get that.
They should say temporarily
Absorbs, yeah.
That's it. That
but
kind of
even with the temporary absorbs, how she did it from issue 5 with Apocalypse, it was straight up like to the point where she became Apocalypse in that moment rather than absorbing that power. Like I get the whole power and
everybody reacting to her. Because that was the big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
damn,
No,
she,
it was a cool
part of
shot.
Apocalypse? Like, is that going to be like, because he died during that transfer?
Yeah.
Is that are they gonna meld into one? Like, but then.
And then it goes back
She's in a
again.
hot tub.
Yeah, and then it goes back. Oh yeah, she's in a hot tub. I'm like, wait, did I miss? I even went back to read the pages before, going like, did I miss something? And I get, yeah, that's her power.
That's a really good example of the art elevating something in a way that makes it better than the story. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's odd, but she's looking good in the hot tub. There's a really attractive.
No, I
lady,
was
and I'm just
It
like,
wasn't until
okay.
after the fact that I was like, wait, that was the same. That's Rogue. Like,
Distracting.
Yeah, distracting. I was like, nice lines.
The big beat for me in the entire 6 issues, I think the biggest holy damn was when Apocalypse punched Gambit into the ground.
Oh yeah, that was
When
5, I think.
Yeah, it was at near the end of 5 when Gambit revealed that he messed with Sinister's or Apocalypse's machinations, and his plan. And Apocalypse was like, grr, and he just drove him into the ground. That felt... The reveal of Apocalypse's plan to put all of this into place because of Apocalypse and his part in House of X and Powers of X, it felt like there was weight behind it.
Yeah.
Like comparing to Marauders when Sebastian Shaw is revealed that, oh, he's a bad guy. Yeah. But Apocalypse, this felt like a more intelligent moving forward of that character, which I appreciate. Again, I think my love of the characters, the art, Teenie Howard, she definitely has a really good sense of dialogue.
Yeah.
I also think that I'm appreciating her dissection and the way that she reveals and talks and goes into the amount of detail shown to magic and how it works with the tech pages of Apocalypse and those things. I'm really enjoying that aspect of the series. And I think, again, people have talked about, like, why is Jubilee here? I am giving a benefit of the doubt that Jubilee and Psylocke have a very specific, very important history. And Rogue and Betsy do kind of as well. That stuff, with a line or two, you could establish those things.
Add that,
someone that you would feel that history.
Yeah.
That it's not just, they're all mutants, they're all part of the X-Men. No, it's actually very specific history. Also, because Betsy spent time as this Psylocke, the ninja kind of thing, it's no contest. Her, as a skill, as a fighter, she would take Brian.
Yep.
That's another thing that you would benefit in learning, because that whole fight was very anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was a fight.
And then he slipped and she stabbed him through the whole body and armor and what happened? Whoa! And then Jamie was there suddenly, and did he help with that? There are moments where it feels like plot holes. Like, that was convenient. What just happened there? And I do put that on to Teenie Howard more than the artist.
And yeah, because, and I was going to mention this as well, doing the digital copies and seeing, we always talk about how it's not as vibrant on the page and everything like that. And then to have this issue and then to have it. And this is actually one of the series that I feel like it actually.
I'm so happy you were saying this. I think this is an improvement on the digital. I think that's the only one.
And I wrote that down. I was like, wow, of all the things where I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. But this actually looks better on the page than it does on the digital.
Yeah, I think that kind of, how have we been saying this? Kind of like through a filter of dark, complements this specific coloring and art and gives it kind of that otherworldly, dirty fantasy kind of medieval thing. I just think, I'm really happy. I totally agree. I think this is the one title, the printed page.
Like, that looks so cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Looks so good.
Yeah. We talked about before a few times of how you kind of lose the weight of that they can bring them back. So even in the beginning of issue 6, in Apocalypse is bringing it back, and you're like, oh, that's cool, Professor X and everything. But at the same time, it's like, it's just an every other day thing. Like, it's just a thing. It's like, like Apocalypse even died. Now Apocalypse is coming back to life.
I agree. I think X-Force is the only series that has had moments where certain characters have been in physical harm's way that I've felt anxiety about.
Yeah, yeah.
X-Force has been the only one to achieve
that
level of
I love it.
concern for the characters you love. Mm-hmm. I was saying that Teenie Howard, her dialogue, I think it's extremely good. There are moments of kind of comedy. I think the first issue, Gambit says something about the way Apocalypse looks at them like a cat watching you clean the kitty litter. And I liked the moment where Gambit is supposed to be behaving when Betsy is meeting with the Queen. And Jubilee and Richter come out and they're like, Gambit, what are you doing? And he's just like, someone threw a bottle at me. And they're like, okay.
Play enough. All right. Good enough for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It wasn't like in some of the other Dawn of X titles when that has kind of occurred, those things. Like here, totally rooting for it. One, you don't doubt Gambit's work.
Is this the one? This is the same. Yeah, so it's Gambit. So is that issue 5 where, right? They're falling? And is it
it might have been
Richter?
Richter, yeah.
And they're falling, and he's making that whole. He's kind of making fun of him. He's like, okay, enough of the jokes, kind of thing. Like, but I even thought there, okay, that was good amount of humor
on point
for it to be cool, and then it still shows that intensity of it all.
The Dreamscape issue or the Dreamscape moments are really interesting and certainly fit the vibe that they're going for. And this wolf who she calls Prestige. And we've seen that wolf in at least one other character's dream. Rogue calls it Prestige and then says because Rachel is a bad name for a wolf. So that, I think it's a manifestation of the psychic powers of Rachel Summers, who is Prestige, and that makes sense because she was actually an original member of Excalibur. I think that she might be helping them out.
See, and I'm jumping all over the place from all my reading orders. So I'm like, I just read about Rachel Summers and this, and
right.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh yeah, she was in the future with Cable.
The
Iskani. Yep. Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, which was also, she was also in like more of a brain.
Right, like the astral plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that talk about different flavors for the Dawn of X books. One of the things about this specific title, this Excalibur fantasy tale, I applaud its very distinct version.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very different comic than X-Force and X-Men, which I applaud that. Like,
I do.
That's great. It might not be for everyone, but
and honestly, it's not even that I hate it. You know, it's not even that. Like I do. I'm the writing, the pacing of it as a whole, the art, the coloring is great.
Is rock star. Like the art and coloring, is
like that looks awesome.
Yeah. And I like all of the tech being Apocalypse and his thoughts and feelings on the magic and all of that stuff. I do think that was a big blunder in issue 6 to have that one page of Otherworld's new status quo before we even got there. That was a really, really unusual choice, which I think was the wrong choice. I also felt like because of this relentless pacing, I enjoyed when Peter Wisdom showed up on behalf of the Queen. He was the kind of secret agent man.
That was in 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, him. Gotcha. Yeah.
And taking those moments, a little bit of the final issue, the hot tub scene, the talk. I feel like there could have been a bit more of that throughout the 6 issues, but I was still grateful to get that at the end of this.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else that you would like to kind of talk about with this series?
No, I mean, the pretty much nailing on the head is it wasn't a good series for me issue by issue, but story arc for what it is, or in trade for these 6 issues, it goes together nicely. There are some things that are maybe could be added in to kind of connect the dots a little bit more for a reader like me.
Here you feel like this story is complete and you're kind of done with it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. Like I didn't.
So Excalibur does not make the cut for Garen if that's continuing forward. But what would you rate it?
This issue 6, I rated a C.
Okay.
As a whole, I rated a B.
Okay. I rate the series as a whole a B as well. And I actually would like to keep reading digitally this series. See, it's funny. I feel like, personally, digital comics should be $1.99. I think a hard copy, the floppy single issues, should be $2.99 and include a digital copy. And then the trade be another thing. See, I would pay $2.99 per issue. I would not pay $1.99 for just a digital.
Oh, yeah.
So, with this being a $3.99 comic,
imagine if I were just.
I suppose for $3.99, the Excalibur of the past is kind of my Excalibur. Like, it's not. If it was $1 off, that makes a big significance difference. And I guess I'm not going to continue with Excalibur for a $3.99 price point. I didn't enjoy it enough. It didn't trump my old comics. You know what I mean? Of I've got to keep going because this new status quo of these characters makes me want to continue with them.
Yeah.
So I guess I thought it was actually part of. I thought I was going to continue with Excalibur when I thought of the price point. Actually, no. That makes me a little sad.
Huh?
So I guess that's it for Excalibur for us.
What do you guys think?
I have sorrow in my heart for it.
What do you guys think, guys?
But what do you guys think of it?
Yeah, we want to know. Comment quality poll in general, A, B, C, D, or F, and if you even are still reading along. And if you are you going to continue?
Yeah, awesome. And if something happens in the next couple issues, if you guys are reading it and you're like, wow, you're missing out.
Let us know. Let us know. Yeah.
Like, I'm, that close.
No, yeah. We said 6 issues. We did it, and now we are here.
So long, Excalibur.
Yes.
But for you guys, we'll see you next time.
To be continued.
Mm-hmm.